So all three of you have been adopted, and just where you're from, where et cetera. Like, give us like a quick.
So I was adopted from Russia, Naryan-Mar. It's like North Russia.
Like really North Russia.
Yeah, like by Siberia. I got adopted when I was 4.5.
Yep.
I was adopted from China when I was 10 months old. I'm from Guangzhou, but I don't know where that is.
You don't know where it is?
No.
Wait,
You?
seriously, you've never looked on a map to see where it is?
I've never thought to do that.
Really? No. Okay. Oh, this is awesome. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, not at all. This is cool. Yeah, man.
I'm from Ethiopia. It's like southeastern Africa, and I came here when I was 10 years old.
10 years old.
10, like 9, 10.
And where were you from in Ethiopia?
The capital.
From Addis?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Do you remember? I mean, you were 10, right?
Yeah, I remember a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the orphanage and like the people there.
Uh-huh. And do you remember? Yeah, so I've been into Addis a couple of times. Really fascinating. The food, do you miss okay, hang on, we're going to start with you. Do you miss the food?
Yes. Yeah, like we don't have any restaurants in State College, but like there's some in Philly, in Pittsburgh, in California, so yeah.
So your adoptive parents here, what's their background?
American.
Okay, and are they white, black?
Yes, they're white.
What's it like to be adopted transnationally?
It's kind of cool, but like, I guess it would be cooler if like my parents kept up with my culture and like with the language and everything about that.
Mm-hmm. So they don't. Have they ever talked about it or?
Because I came here and I had to learn English because I was like, so I'm like a grade behind. Like I technically should have graduated. So I had to stay back, learn English for a year. And they kind of just like were fast paced in me learning English and getting to school. So they never kept up with my Russian. So like I lost that. Mm-hmm. And they don't like teach me any traditions or anything. So like that kind of sucks. So like identity kind of thing.
So Haley, that's not a problem, an issue for you, right? Or is it? Do you wish that it happened?
I don't really think about it too much because it happened when I was so young. So yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. But my parents also didn't really expose me to culture or anything.
Did your parents ever ask you, like, hey, do you want to think about, like, hey, Penn State or wherever somebody offers Chinese Mandarin classes or something, would you be interested?
No, they never asked me. Like, we didn't have it. Well, we had it in high school, but you had to do, like, 4 years of one language, and then you had to do that, and no one did that. So it wasn't really on the table.
So you never had any interest?
No.
Did your parents ever ask, like, once to sit down and say, hey, do you ever think about where you came from? Why not? Like, what do you think is behind that?
I think just because, like, we grew up in a very, like, white neighborhood in general, and so they probably thought, like, I didn't think about it too much, which I didn't. Like, they weren't wrong.
Yeah. No. I think...
wasn't... Yeah, and, like, my whole family's white, so the whole, like, thing of, like, exploring other cultures, that just didn't exist for them.
Yeah, I got you, yeah. Yeah, and we see that, right, with many people who adopt transnationally. The goal is, hey, we want to treat, like, if you're like my daughter, right? It's like, if the three of you are my children, right? I want to treat all three of you the exact same. I don't want to make anybody special. I don't want to, like, have you talk about like China, because then it'd be like, oh my God, no, you're part of the family now. You're here, right? And that's a really awesome thing that people do. And, there are other consequences, right? In your household, because there are so many of you from Ethiopia, like, you can't not talk about it.
Like, I keep up with my culture because my mom speaks a little bit of Ethiopian, Amharic. She also, like, makes Ethiopian food for us sometimes, like, when we were younger.
Did she make injera?
No, we get it from, like, DC.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But my sister makes
What's
it.
What's the coolest part about being, about being adopted from another country?
You get, like, both worlds from, like, back there and here, and, like, I don't know, I feel like I'm more cultured that way. Like, I have, like, my life, I have families back there. I have 4 brothers, and I have a mother, and I also have family here.
Wait, a birth mother?
Yeah.
So you're still in contact with her?
Sometimes we, like, FaceTime.
Okay.
but like you can only get adopted if you are like not that old, like 13 and younger. You can get adopted.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can only get adopted if you have like one parent alive. Like
Uh-huh.
if both of your parents are alive, you can get adopted because it's like the law in Ethiopia. You can't get adopted. If
Yeah,
both are
yeah,
alive.
yeah, yeah. So, Olia, have you? How much do you think about? How often do you think about the fact that you're adopted?
I'd say a lot.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah.
Like, can you tell us more about that?
I guess it's just because like 10 years is that's like a really old, not old, but like kind of like a traumatic age. So like I guess like after 3 years old, like it can like has a way of like working with like your development issues. So it's like growing up, it's tough like forming an identity and like abandonment issues and like little stuff like that. Yeah, so I guess I think about it every day just because I like being Russian, but I'm constantly around like Americans all the time. My family's American, so like I like to remind myself like no, like I'm Russian, like I'm not like American.
How do you identify? That's my question.
I like on a questionnaire like I'll say white, but if it says like ethnicity, I'm saying Russian.
You say Russian. So like that's very much a part of you.
Yeah.
But so Haley, how about you though?
On a questionnaire, I'll say Asian.
I have a question. I'm so sorry. I forgot your name, the one that's from Russia.
Oh yeah.
I'm adopted from Kazakhstan. So how do you feel when people ask, like, because it's that confusion of like, oh, are you half white? Are you half Asian? Do you know what I mean? Do you get asked that a lot?
A lot of people don't really like, unless people know like ethnicity, they don't know that I'm from Russia. Like they would just look at me and be like, oh, she's white. So like they don't really.
So you never get like the question about like.
Sometimes people are like, oh, like where are you from? And I'll be like Long Island. They're like, oh, like what's your originality? And I'd be like, oh, like Russian.
So people assume you're Asian somehow, like, or what do they assume for you?
Honestly, it depends on what my hair color is. Like when I'm blonde, people think I'm white, but then if my hair is dark, people think I'm Asian. So yeah.
And what do they see? What do you think they see? How about you? When you look in a mirror, what do you see?
I see Kazakh.
You see Kazakh?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here, for sure. And how do you identify?
I tell people I was raised in a white household, so I don't know the traditions. But
The Kazakh
but like
traditions.
blood, like 100% Kazakh.
So if I say like, what's your ancestry? If I just say like in class, hey, Jesse, what's your ancestry?
Kazakh.
You'd say Kazakh.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you came to the U.S.?
6 months.
6 months?
Mm-hmm.
So have you done any tracking of your,
Yeah, I did a DNA test.
you did DNA
Yeah.
test?
Yeah, and I'm like 96% Kazakh.
And have you tracked all your birth parents at all? Do you-
It's a closed thing. I
Yeah,
don't know.
okay, yeah, I would imagine that. How about customs for you here?
I was a dual citizen up to 18. But like as soon as I turned like 18, it really just went away.
Because it was something you had to keep up?
Yeah. Like I would have to fight for it if I wanted it.
And you'd have to go there,
Yeah.
probably. Have you ever been there?
No, I was going to, but then COVID.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mira, you haven't been back to Ethiopia, right?
I
You
did.
Yeah, you went back?
Yeah.
When?
2019.
Oh, yeah? How was that?
It was really good. Yeah, I saw my family for the first time since like 10 years.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
And you were in Addis?
Yes, yeah.
Haley, do you imagine, can you see yourself ever going to China? Do you have any interest at all?
I don't have any more interest that I would like anywhere else, honestly.
You don't have any more interest to go there than anywhere
Yeah,
else?
like I think it'd be cool, but I'm
Yeah.
not like dying to go because I'm Chinese. I'll
Yeah,
just
yeah.
go
Yeah.
for fun.
Yeah, because you're not Chinese, right? I mean, like you say. So here, let me just throw a whole thing into this. Like you say, hey, I say I'm Kazakh, right? You say I'm Ethiopian, and you say I'm American, right? You're not Chinese.
I don't know. It depends. Like, because I'll tell people I'm Chinese, but I was adopted or something like that.
Yeah.
Because like you can just look at me and see that I'm not. So people get confused.
So people get confused and they're like, what? Like, and so it's easier than just sorting out the confusion. Yeah, and there's no way to do, like, if you just, for you to say, respond, I'm Kazakh or Ethiopian or Chinese or not or American, whatever it does, whatever you want to do, however you feels comfortable. That's what's so awesome about this. And for you, Olia, to say I'm Russian or whatever, it just doesn't matter. It's like the just being alive is difficult enough than to figure out identities in some way.
This one's actually for Haley. Are there any people who come up to you who are also Chinese who might just start talking Mandarin to you? And if they do, like, does that ever make you feel some kind of way?
Yeah, that happened to me at an airport once. This guy like just started speaking, and I was like, I don't know what you're saying. And I was like, my parents are white. I don't know.
So how does it? Like, I don't know if it's common for like certain cultures where like one sibling's adopted and the other one stays with the biological parent, or like where both siblings are adopted. Like, how did that make you feel meeting your biological sister, knowing that she's with your biological mom?
It was like, I don't know, it's kind of shocking, and I had to like kind of take it in and like take it for a moment, because it's like, she's 10 years older than me, so like she remembered it more than I did when I was younger, and I'm kind of like American now, and I'm like into this life, so I think she feels some type of way more than I do, but that's because like I've been here for so long. And she was like older and stuff, and she has kids and everything. So
does she feel in a way jealous that you have a U.S. passport?
I don't know if she feels jealous, but like I know she like really misses me, because in Russia, like, you're not supposed to get adopted if you have a sibling.
Yeah.
But like the judge like overlooked that, so like I can get adopted and stuff.
Do any of you know how your parents came to adopt you from that particular country? Like, how was that? How did that come about?
For me, my mom has some friends in State College who has adopted some kids. She also like really interested in like the world. Mm-hmm. So she has also like friends on Facebook who have like Ethiopian kids who are adopted, and so she was like interested in like adopting like some kids from Ethiopia.
Number of international adoptees to the U.S. Look at like we don't think about Ethiopia, right? But look at here. I mean, here we are. We're coming up here. I mean, the numbers have gone down tremendously, but it's a lot of people from Ethiopia. And look, in Russia was very high. When you came, Russia was very high. Haley, how about you?
I don't know why they chose China.
They just did.
Probably.
So I guess like back in like 2000, 2001, Kazakhstan was like a popular place to adopt from.
Yep.
And my mom chose Kazakhstan. She was gonna do Russian. I don't know why she didn't, but she like had to stay in Kazakhstan for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Lived in Ethiopia for about 10 years, and now you've lived in the U.S. for give or take 10 years. I don't know exactly how old you are. What is one difference you noticed living in Ethiopia and then living in the U.S.?
For me, it's like the freedom here. Also, like here you have like more education, like more like just like everything you have here. Because back in Ethiopia, for like the last like 2 years, I was in an orphanage. My mom was really, really poor, and like my family couldn't really raise me. But like up here I have like education and like just like more sources.
How did it feel like growing up in a household where like your parents didn't maybe like look exactly like you? Like,
I guess for like the majority, for a while like I didn't really understand, but my biggest difference was like my family's all above like 6 foot, and I'm 5'1". So like that's kind of like the difference. Like I walk around and people are like, oh, like you're clearly not related, and it's like, oh yeah, good one. But like that's like my biggest difference. So it's like it just like feels like 3 and 1 kind of in a way.
So there's 3 people and then 1 person.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't really thought about it that much. Sorry, that's my answer for everything.
Dude, no, hang on. This is so awesome. You know what I mean? No, really. So here, class, you understand something here. We live in this world where we assume that everybody who is not, in the United States, we assume that everybody who is not white thinks about not being white all the time. Things about their ethnicity, their race, their culture, their background. They look in a mirror, they see themselves, every day I look in a mirror and I see that I'm black. You know, like, no, there are people in this room who are black who don't think about being black, right? And Haley is saying, like, no, I don't even think about it. Like, you don't have to think about it. It's not really that important. It's not that big of a deal.
Do you still like have like your Chinese name or anything like that?
I do, but I don't remember it. My middle name is still Chinese though, but I think my parents have been pronouncing it wrong for like 21 years until my friend my friend asked me and I was like, oh, it's Kin, like Q-I-N. And she was like, oh, for the past like however long I've known you, I thought it was Chin. And I was like, shit.
What is it? Q-I-N?
It's Q-I-N.
Wait, hang
so,
on
like,
a second.
how is that pronounced?
It could be Qing or Qing. I don't know.
Qin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're wrong. Okay.
So everyone's wrong.
It kind of sounds like you guys, like as a whole, have been saying that like you miss that like more of that connection that like your parents didn't keep up with like your culture as much, like where you were born and stuff. Are you guys happy, or do you have like any kind of resentment towards your family for like not keeping up with that, or like how would you describe it overall? I mean,
So I was also like, actually me and my 3 sisters were adopted from China.
Biological sisters?
No.
Okay.
But like we were kind of in the same boat, but like we've actually talked about this, but I don't really resent my parents for anything. I'm like more in like the same boat as Haley. My little sister might like answer differently, but like my parents really tried when we were younger. We went to like Mandarin classes and stuff like that, but like just as like the years went on, I don't know, like I just wasn't as interested in learning about it as like maybe my older or younger sister, but like I don't resent them or anything like that.
Personally, I really want to learn a lot about my culture, but I can't because Kazakhstan's low key. Like, there's a lot going on there right now, and the government sort of, it's not communist, but it's like you'll get like barely any information about it. Like if you really want to deep dive into it, you can't. And like I personally have never met anyone else from Kazakhstan, so I can't learn about it really.